Live from Studio 5 in New York City, this is the news at 6.
All right, welcome back tonight to our feature story, which this evening focuses on the new rules for dating, and especially that very first date. Crystal Young dove right into the dating pool to see how things might have changed as we head into 2017. Watch.
But what if I'm the exception?
No, you're not. You're not at all. In fact, you're the rule. And the rule is this. If a guy doesn't call you, he doesn't want to call you.
When it comes to dating, it seems everyone has great advice, but sometimes it can get a little confusing. And are there subjects you should never bring up on a first date?
Would you ask someone who they voted for on a first date?
No.
Why?
Some people take that a little bit too deep.
Do you think that on a first date you can talk about politics, religion, things that people consider sensitive?
I think why not? I would want to know on the first date.
I kind of disagree with what she said. I think that you shouldn't really be asking questions about politics, religion, or anything like that on the first date. I think the first date is supposed to be like get to know someone, get to know about their life.
But it's almost 2017 and the rules have changed. Or have they? Relationship expert Rachel D'Alto weighs in.
I don't have rules. I think that rules are meant to be broken a lot. But I think there's certain boundaries, and there's definitely a dance of dating that needs to be followed, and those steps that need to be followed in regards to the dance.
But is dating radically different among different generations? When you're in your 20s, you have time to go on a few bad dates before you get to a few good ones. But once you hit your 30s and 40s, most people want to minimize the small talk and get down to business. But how you do it is key.
So there's an old expression, it's not what you say, but how you say it, and it looks like that might be the biggest rule when it comes to dating.
I think you talk about anything you want as long as it's polite.
We need to be naturally inquisitive, but also in a way that doesn't feel like aggression. There is a way to ask every question, and there's a way to respond that doesn't make people feel like they're being judged.
And on a first date, who should pay?
I thought it was wonderful that my husband paid for our first date and that he was so lovely and we talked about everything and he was so interesting and we've been together ever since.
Together almost 50 years, maybe we should take a page from their dating book.
I love this story. Crystal Young is joining us right now, and so is Thomas Edwards, who is a dating expert. Good to have you guys together. Very well color coordinated.
Well,
I love that. Charming. Make a nice couple. I like that.
Oh, Ernie.
I'm getting it started.
Solidness.
All right, listen, wait a minute. Good point there. They were talking about who pays the bill, right? Oh, is that right? What do you say?
Traditional less. I think you should pay for the bill. These days, it's not about showing that you're a provider, but I think it's more about showing appreciation for the date and for the woman of taking the time to spend time with me.
That's a good point.
All right.
You feel the same
and
way?
I agree with him.
You agree, yeah.
I want to say maybe like the second or third date, I'll say, well, wait a minute. You know, I'd like to flip it. I'd like to pay for you, but first date, I am reaching for no plastic, no Benjamins. I'm just smiling and reapplying my lip gloss.
I like that attitude.
Okay,
That's good.
okay.
You know, I also noticed that it's not a generational thing now with dating. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Everybody's sort of saying the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, as everyone's views change from generation to generation, we're still talking about courtship. And there's still going to be similarities that we're going to want when it comes to how we want to be pursued and how we want to define love. There are always going to be similarities.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
yeah. And as far as, you know, the personality goes, is that the bottom line? I mean, is it how you act, you know, your mannerisms, that chemistry? Is that the first thing that you notice? Is that the most important thing?
I think that's absolutely the first thing that you notice, but I have learned to let it play out a little. I think sometimes even with your eyes you make judgments, and then you start speaking to people and things reveal themselves a little differently. Even when it comes to a second date. I've had a lot of not so great first dates, and by the second date I'm like, I like you.
I like you.
But the key is getting to that second date.
That is true.
You have to be able to allow them to get to the second date.
So how do you coach your clients about this?
So I tell my clients, so I think about this, communication, 7% of it is verbal. And so when you think about the rest of it, it's 55% body language and 38% tonality. And so ultimately, it's not necessarily what you say, it's your presentation and your delivery. And so if you can help those, it'll improve your chances of getting that second date.
I agree. Which is the point we made in the piece. It's not what you say often, it's how you say it.
What's the worst thing, by the way, you can say or do in a date, in your opinion?
I think talking radically about an ex, I
Not
assume
good.
if you're on a date with me, we've gotten to the point where you are free, and you don't have to talk about that person. So it's not that I don't want you to mention at all, but don't go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Thomas, that makes sense, right? You don't talk about the past, right? You keep the present and perhaps the future.
Especially if it's negative. You know,
Right.
if you don't like your job, you should not be talking about your job.
Sure.
If you have a very polarizing opinion, you shouldn't be mentioning on a first date. So things like politics, especially in today's time, religion, finances, things like that, you just want to avoid on a first date because it's easy for people to make a snap judgment.
I think so.
on you.
And isn't humor really important? I mean,
yes.
People want to be around someone that makes them laugh and makes them feel good, right?
Yeah. I lead with that. I always bring my humor to the first date, second date, 50th date. I'm going to be a little funny. And you're going to have to act like you like it.
Yeah, there you go. I'll laugh. You find people are less judgmental these days, more open to the relationships?
They're open, but there'll always be a caveat. You know, there needs to be the right situation where they can be open. Otherwise, they'll still be within their judgmental space, which we all are judgmental in some capacity.
Sure,
but if we're in the position where we can see an openness to it, plenty of people are more likely to do that.
Crystal, do you see it the same way?
I do.
Very much so,
I think it's almost 2017, and I think people are way more open than they were, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I think a lot of times you have to ease into things that might be a little tricky, but overall, more open.
So I like being a matchmaker. Is there any matching going on here?
I know, Ernie. You're like, I marry people. Well, thank you, Ernie. Wink, wink. I'll let you know if we need you.
I'm always available.
How's that?
You guys are great. I'm going to be following you.
I like your style.
Thank you so much. You enjoy. I got a little business to take care of right now. Right after the break, the man who can make